Forrester Creations was on top of the world. The brand had bounced back from scandals, rivalries, and power struggles countless times, and their latest campaign was a resounding success until one headline shattered everything. Rising model accuses R.J. Forrester of exploiting his power. The story hit social media like wildfire. Within hours, the name R.J. Forrester was trending for all the wrong reasons. Allegations surfaced from a new face in the modeling world, Savannah Blake, who claimed that R.J. had cornered her during a late-night fitting session and made inappropriate advances, leveraging his last name and creative authority. She said she was intimidated into silence and feared speaking up would kill her chances at a modeling career. Her story was raw, emotional, and it spread fast. Bloggers picked it up, fashion accounts amplified it, and activists began calling for boycotts. #boycott Forrester began trending within 12 hours. At the Forrester office, the mood shifted from celebration to panic. Steffi was the first to react. She called an emergency board meeting and went straight to the point. "We're dealing with a PR nightmare," she said sharply. "We either get in front of it or let it destroy us." She wanted R.J. to step back immediately from public duties, pending investigation. Internally, she considered suspension. Possibly even termination if the situation escalated. "No one is above the brand," she said. "Not even family." Brooke, however, stormed into the meeting with a different agenda. She was livid. "This is slander," she snapped. "R.J. would never do something like this. Savannah is clearly using this moment to grab attention and destroy my son's reputation." Ridge, torn, tried to remain neutral, but his protective instincts were impossible to hide. "We need facts," he said, "not assumptions. If we start eating our own the moment someone points a finger, what kind of family are we?" But facts were hard to come by. Savannah gave no interviews. She stayed out of the spotlight after her initial post, but didn't retract anything. Meanwhile, clients began to withdraw. One high-profile international distributor suspended their deal. Fashion influencers distanced themselves. A scheduled Forrester fashion show in New York was quietly pulled from the calendar. And then, the press began circling. Reporters hounded the Forrester estate. Photographers camped outside the building. Every face entering the building was now potential scandal fuel. Hope Logan tried to mediate. She met with Savannah privately. What she learned unsettled her. Savannah wasn't hostile. She wasn't erratic. She was calm, composed, hurt. "I didn't want this," Savannah said softly. "But I couldn't stay quiet. He told me I'd be the face of the fall line. Then he touched my waist and said it depended on how far I was willing to go." I froze. I didn't scream. I didn't report it, but it happened. Hope didn't know what to believe. She had known R.J. her whole life. He wasn't that guy, but Savannah's voice haunted her. She took her concerns to Steffi, who tightened her push for action. "We need transparency," Steffi said. "We need to act before the public buries us." Then came the leak. Security footage from the night of the alleged incident surfaced, leaked anonymously. It showed R.J. and Savannah alone in the design studio. The clip was grainy, black and white, and silent. R.J. appeared to walk behind her, adjusting something on her gown. She turned to face him. They spoke. He stepped closer. She backed into a table. He leaned in. Then nothing conclusive. No sudden motion. No clear aggression. Just tension. Ambiguity. And that ambiguity split the family wide open. Brooke saw the video and immediately declared it exoneration. "This proves nothing happened," she said. "There's no assault, no harassment, not even anything suggestive." Ridge hesitated. "It doesn't prove his innocence, Brooke." "It just doesn't prove anything yet." Steffi disagreed. The power dynamics alone are damaging. She looked uncomfortable. That's enough. He shouldn't have been alone with a model after hours. The argument exploded into the living room of the Forrester mansion that evening. Brooke and Ridge on one side, Steffi and Thomas on the other. Hope sat silently in the middle. RJ, humiliated, watched his world crumble. I didn't touch her, he repeated. I swear on everything I didn't do what she's saying. Brooke stood behind him like a shield. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Steffi snapped. He absolutely does. Especially if we're expected to keep the company alive. Tensions grew. Old wounds reopened. Steffi accused Brooke of always defending the Logans, no matter what. Brooke accused Steffi of using this moment to finally push RJ out of her way. Ridge tried to keep peace but failed. We need a third-party investigation, he finally said. And until then, RJ stays off the design floor. Brooke screamed betrayal. You're turning on your own son. Ridge looked pained. I'm trying to save him and all of us. Meanwhile, Deacon watched the media storm unfold from Il Giardino. He reached out to Savannah's old agency. Quietly, discreetly. He wanted to know more. What he found stunned him. Savannah had a history of complicated exits. Not criminal. Not even scandalous. But rumors followed her, brief affairs with photographers, accusations that disappeared without evidence, whispers of manipulation. Nothing concrete, but enough to raise flags. Deacon shared this with Ridge in private. Ridge took it to Brooke. Brooke wanted to go public. Steffi blocked her. If you smear her and she's telling the truth, we're done. That would be suicide. Savannah issued a brief statement. I stand by my story. I want no revenge. Only accountability. Then, another twist. A second model, Anonymous, came forward to a local blog, claiming she too felt pressured during a private fitting with RJ several months earlier. Again, nothing concrete. But the timing was a dagger. Now, the court of public opinion turned further. Protests emerged outside the Forrester boutique on Rodeo Drive. Social media swarmed with posts calling the company toxic, elitist, outdated. Hope's line was now stained. Ridge's legacy was under fire. Eric, watching from afar, considered stepping out of retirement to stabilize the brand. But even he didn't know where the truth lay anymore. Behind closed doors, the family was unraveling. Brooke and Ridge stopped sleeping in the same room. Steffi and Thomas began discussing emergency succession plans. RJ disappeared from the house, staying at a friend's loft, unreachable. The media wanted statements. The people wanted resignations. No one had answers. Then, one late evening, Savannah returned to the studio. Alone. She walked through the design floor and stood on the spot from the video. Hope found her there. Why are you here? She asked. Savannah looked broken. Because I don't know if I ruined a boy's life or exposed a monster. And that uncertainty is killing me. Hope was speechless. In the end, the internal investigation reached an inconclusive verdict. The footage was insufficient. The timeline murky. RJ's behavior questionable, but not definitively abusive. The board ruled in favor of putting RJ on extended leave, pending public trust restoration. No charges were filed. Savannah refused to pursue legal action. But the scar remained. RJ returned to a family forever changed. Brooke's unwavering defense isolated her from Steffi. Ridge, exhausted, contemplated stepping down. Hope quietly took a sabbatical. Steffi restructured the brand from the inside, launching mandatory training, policy overhauls, and new leadership codes. The truth was never clearly established. But one thing was certain. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, power always comes with a price. And silence, even in doubt, echoes louder than guilt. In the tangled universe of the bold and the beautiful, no action goes unnoticed, and no secret stays buried forever. As the calendar turns to the final days of May 2025, the slow-burning chaos surrounding Luna Nozawa erupts into a full-fledged reckoning, dragging the Spencers, Forresters, and everyone in their orbit into a terrifying collision course where manipulation, obsession, and past sins collide in deadly fashion. It all began with what many considered an astonishing act of mercy. Bill Spencer, ever the unrelenting titan of power, shocked the family and the public alike when he made the controversial decision not to pursue further punishment against Luna Nozawa for her involvement in the deaths of two men. Incidents shrouded in murky motivations and conveniently missing surveillance footage. Despite vehement warnings from Steffi, Ridge, and even his own son Liam, Bill pulled strings with legal authorities and secured Luna a high-end house arrest deal. One cloaked in discretion and luxury. But this wasn't merely about sparing her. This was about understanding her. Bill saw himself in Luna, a turbulent childhood, an endless fight for control, and a hunger to be seen. He convinced himself that her crimes were born from trauma, not evil. That given the right structure, the right environment, she could be saved. It was a classic Spencer miscalculation. And it began unraveling the moment Luna stepped foot into the gated serenity of the Spencer estate. At first, she played her role well. She was docile, soft-spoken, repentant. She followed the rules, met with her therapist virtually, and never missed a single check-in. She even offered to help with Bill's philanthropic ventures. But that mask started to crack the moment she met Will Spencer, Bill's youngest son, now older, sharp, handsome, and unknowingly vulnerable. Luna became fixated. She watched him, studied him, asked about him in every passing conversation. Bill thought it was innocent curiosity, but everyone else saw it for what it was, grooming her next target. Will, recently returned from business school and romantically involved with Elicra Forrester, found Luna's attention flattering but odd. When she complimented his shirts, he smiled. When she asked about his relationship, he grew cautious. When she began showing up during his workouts, dinner meetings, and private calls, it became harder to ignore. The breaking point came when Elicra confronted Luna directly at the Spencer estate. What began as a tense conversation about boundaries devolved into a physical altercation. Luna snapped. With venom in her voice, she screamed that her crimes were so last year and that Elicra's days were numbered. Bill was called immediately. By the time he arrived, Elicra was in tears, Will was furious, and Luna had returned to her passive facade, like nothing had happened. Bill had no choice but to tighten the restrictions. Luna was no longer permitted near Will's quarters or the main residence. Her privileges were scaled back. Her therapists were changed. But the damage was already done. Because now, with her access threatened, Luna's obsession grew darker. And she stopped pretending. Bill's wake-up call came too late. He began to see her manipulations for what they were, disguised beneath layers of charm and trauma. But by then, Luna had already shifted her focus. Elicra may have been the appetizer. The entree was Steffi Forrester, the woman Luna blamed for keeping her from Finn, the father figure she still longed for, twisted through years of emotional distortion and delusion. Despite being under house arrest, Luna found ways to maneuver. She manipulated a low-level Spencer tech assistant to disable the tracking on her ankle monitor for brief intervals, offering him leverage she knew would ruin him if he refused. She stole a weapon, small, light, concealable, from one of Bill's locked safes. And she began tracking Steffi. Quietly, patiently, obsessively. Meanwhile, across town, Steffi's instincts screamed. She could feel something wrong. Finn dismissed it at first, still believing Luna's confinement was enough. But the Forrester security team began reporting suspicious signals, phantom pings near the cliff house, unfamiliar tire tracks, and a blurry photo of a woman walking near the dunes. It was all too familiar. Ridge doubled security. Liam, despite his own health declining from an undisclosed condition he'd been hiding for months, offered to patrol the perimeter himself. If she comes, he told Steffi quietly, I'll be the one to stop her. I owe you that. Steffi didn't know the full extent of his illness, but she knew his sincerity was real. And then came the final spiral. Luna disappeared. Her monitor went dark. Bill panicked. He sent his team into overdrive, but the tech assistant she corrupted was gone. Her room was empty, no goodbye, no trace. Only a single note scrawled in red lipstick on her mirror. No one gets between me and what's mine. That night, the Cliff House went into lockdown. Steffi and Finn were inside with the kids. Ridge waited at the gates. Liam stood watch by the sea path, flashlight in hand. The wind howled, and everyone knew the moment had arrived. Luna came through the rocks. Her hair tangled, her hands shaking, her voice soft. Steffi, she called, just loud enough to draw her out. Steffi stepped onto the balcony, saw the gun, and shouted for Finn. Ridge came running. So did Liam. But Luna wasn't aiming at Steffi. She was aiming at herself. You took him from me, she sobbed. You took all of them. Deacon, Finn, Will. You think you're some kind of queen, but you don't understand what it's like to be erased. Her hand trembled on the trigger. Liam approached her slowly, calmly. You don't have to do this, he said. There's still time to make this right. No, Luna whispered. It's already wrong. Then she moved the gun toward Steffi. A shot rang out, and Liam lunged. The bullet hit his shoulder. Blood burst. Luna screamed. Ridge tackled her. Finn rushed to Liam. Steffi pulled the children to safety. It was over in seconds, but the damage was irreversible. Liam was rushed to the hospital. In surgery for hours. On the edge, Finn, shaken, worked alongside the trauma team. Ridge stood vigil. Bill arrived mid-morning, shattered. This is my fault, he kept repeating. I let her in. I let her in. Luna was taken into custody, screaming, laughing, breaking. The gun was recovered. The evidence was overwhelming. Her court-appointed attorney filed for an insanity plea. The prosecutors pushed for federal charges. This time, there would be no house arrest. No deal. No mercy. At the hospital, Finn told Steffi the truth. Liam has less than a 30% chance to walk again, if he makes it at all. Steffi broke down. And when Liam finally woke up, the first thing he asked was, did I save her? Yes, he had. Again. Bill visited Luna in her holding cell. She looked at him, glassy-eyed. You still think I'm like you? She asked. Bill didn't respond. He just stared at her, then turned and walked out. That was the last time he saw her. The aftermath rippled through every family. Steffi and Finn renewed their commitment to each other. Ridge restructured Forrester security protocols. Will ended things with Elicra, not out of lack of love, but guilt for how close things had come. And Brooke, watching it all from a distance, whispered the one thing no one else would say aloud. We knew. We always knew. But we all kept quiet until someone bled. And Liam? He recovered. Slowly, painfully, bravely. And as the sun set over the cliffs one evening, Steffi sat by his side, holding his hand. You didn't have to save me, she said. I always will, he whispered, even if it's the last thing I do. Because in the bold and the beautiful, salvation comes at a cost. And sometimes, redemption is just another kind of illusion.